Blog Talk Radio.
Mabuhay alumni and all you punks and new wavers or whatever out there. This is the Girl George and the Dragons radio show. I'm Girl George. And the Dragons are anyone I can drag on stage. Today we have a band that, or a bass player that was on my TV show about 30, 40 years ago. And they've gotten the most hits, well, almost the most. They got 35,000 hits on their song, where Queen Ida got, I think, 40,000. But anyhow, this is one of my most popular acts. This is the bass player from Pearl Harbor and the Explosions. This is Hilary Hines. I've been trying to get him on the show for a year and a half. I finally got him onto it because his daughter, Lexi, he's playing with her now. And they've got a new album coming out. So here they are, Hilary and Lex.
Yeah, hi, Girl George. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing fine. Where are you at?
We are in Portland, Oregon.
Wow. Is it cool there?
Yep.
Oh, it's totally awesome.
If you couldn't live in San Francisco, Portland would be the next best, huh?
That's right. It's a lot of similarities between Portland now and San Francisco about 20 years ago.
Yeah, I know. The music scene, how's the music scene there?
Poppin'.
You know, there's a lot going on. There really is. There has been for quite a while.
Ton of live. Yeah, a ton of live music here. And every night of the week you have your pick of 50 different shows. I think one of the interesting things about the scene here is that any band can get a show kind of any night of the week. You don't have to fight for it, and so it's like it's a great thing. And then it kind of can get tricky because nobody knows whether a given show is going to be any good or not, because everybody knows that anybody can play. So it's like it levels the playing field, and then it makes it just that much harder to sort of get anybody's attention, I think, because of it.
So this is your daughter, huh? You're playing with your daughter now, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
How cool
Which has worked
is that?
out really great. Oh, it's so cool. But she started writing songs, and I was like, wow, this stuff is really good. I would like to play on this stuff. So I was very pleased and honored when she asked if I would play with her.
I wish my daughter would play with me. She's a Taurus too, but she wants to be a school teacher and don't want no part of music. I wish she would be into music.
Well, it's something that we hear. It's definitely something we hear a lot, from people. They are really blown away by our dynamic, and especially for the people. I think it's really special for the people that see us play, and they're just floored, they're loving it, and then they come talk with us, and they're like, what is going on with your guys' dynamic? And we tell them, well, actually, we're father-daughter, and they can't believe it, and then they're like, I want that, because there's so few people, I think, have this kind of dynamic with their father or their child, grown child, and to have the kind of connection we do that is just so obvious whenever you're just seeing us on stage together. You could just see how close we are, and people really, really respond to that.
Yeah.
So, Lexi, your mother was a drummer in a punk band?
It wasn't a punk band. It was a new wave band. Both of my biological parents, they met when they were both in new wave bands in San Francisco. So she was in a band called Voice Farm that is amazing, and they're still doing stuff. So they are very much worth checking out. They were a big deal in San Francisco then too, and they're still rocking it. Mike and Charlie of Voice Farm. So she was their drummer. When she got pregnant with my brother, she left that band, and they went all electronic from there. So they actually adopted the drum machine at that point, which is what we do. So it's my favorite album of theirs, Bigger, Cooler, Weirder, is actually very much the kind of stuff we do in that sense, drum machine.
And it's just the two of you in a drum machine.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right.
Oh, well, you don't need to deal with anyone else.
Yeah, well, we do a lot of different stuff, though. The cool thing is that we make we make a big sound for two people. We have a lot of equipment we bring. We are not an acoustic band. I play a tele and with two little amps, and he plays his electric bass. Our drum machine is plugged in, and then we do a lot of swapping. We sing harmonies together. I play flute. He will take the guitar and do some lead playing. We jam out. And then on the album that we just came out with, we do a ton of stuff. I mean, it was so much fun. We both love producing music. We recorded and mixed the whole thing ourselves. And the album is called Little Machine. And just this last Friday, 2 days ago, was my 30th birthday, which we celebrated with our CD release, our first CD release show for Little Machine. So there's just a ton of stuff going on that album.
What a great picture on there. How did that picture come about on that album? It's really fantastic.
It's amazing. And people say all the time, "Oh, you got to see the cover of our new album," and they're like, "Okay, fine." And they look at it and they just go, well, "I wasn't expecting it to be this good," So and really, people are just sort of amazed by it. The story behind the Little Machine art is that the album name came up one night. My partner, Christoph, literally one night he said, "You are a little machine," because of just everything I was doing at that time. And I instantly said, "That's it. That's the name of the album that we were about to start recording." And right then we started developing this concept. And for me, it was very much, it's like, okay, I see Hilary, and he's like working inside my head, and I'm like an automaton doll, robot. And it was very, I was thinking sort of Pinocchio meets Edward Scissorhands meets The Sandman, which is a short story written in 1817 by E.T.A. Hoffman. It was a hugely influential short story. I was an English major and read it in college. This alchemist makes this automaton woman beautiful, and so I think, and then the woman that painted it, her name is Denise Varnado, incredibly talented woman. She is my biological mom's best friend, and she was just able to completely bring this vision to life we started with a photo shoot, and she just painted this unbelievable thing where Hilary is, working inside my head, and there's this blue light, glowing coming out of the top of my head, and it's just, it's incredible. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, she did an amazing job.
So Hilary, when did you work with Chrome?
Chrome was something that my brother John and I worked on after Pearl Harbor and the explosions. They had gone into the studio, Damon and Helios had gone into the studio with Oliver Chico, and they needed a drummer, and Oliver, I think, had recommended John, and then they decided to bring me in to do some work. I was on Blood on the Moon. So that would have been, 1980, something like that. And so you
guys are called the Stench Brothers, right? You and your brother?
Right. We got we started being called the Stench Brothers when we were in Leila and the Snakes. Leila made us the Stench Brothers.
Well, that was a great group too. Leila and the Snakes were fantastic.
Oh, that was a fun group. It really was, and that's how I got to meet Pearl as well, because she was in that band.
So what happened? You guys all quit together and formed another band?
Oh, no. there's any band. There's going to be tension in just about any band. I think John had left the band, Leila and the Snakes, and he was doing some music with Peter Dunn, who is an old friend of his and an old music partner of his. And they were working on some stuff, and I started working with them. And so then I left Leila and the Snakes to work with those guys, and then we asked Pearl if she wanted to sing with us as well, and she did.
So you guys were the hottest band going. Was that song Driving, and then you got signed with Warner Brothers and went on tour? What happened then?
Well, I think it's interesting because I think Pete really described it well in his interview with you. But anytime you get people together like that, it's very much. I always use the metaphor of being a family, and sometimes the family is not as functional as other times, and so there were definitely conflicts that developed over the time that we were together, and it was such a whirlwind. That band, for all the influence it had, we were together for a year and a half, and that's all. But there's so much.
Well, they remember you because everyone comes to your thing on YouTube, and they hit on that Driving over and over and over again. I don't know how many people. 35,000 people. You played for that many live?
Oh man, we did. We never at one time, but we did do some big shows over the years, over the year and a half that we played. So I think.
Where did you tour to?
We did a tour with the Talking Heads on the East Coast and the West Coast, and then we did a national tour as a headliner. We did a club tour across the country. So we played just about everywhere but the South. We really didn't play the South.
And you can imagine how jealous I am when
avoided the South, didn't they?
But yeah, for me, growing up with these stories, and obviously my parents raised me on all of this really great new wave music. They're absolutely all of my biggest influences go back to the Talking Heads and XTC and the Smiths and Prefab Sprout and all of these people, Kate Bush. And so it always just drove me crazy because he toured with the Talking Heads, and they were over at One Step Beyond, and then they were at the Mabuhay. They were in San Francisco. They were playing with all these people. They knew them. They were in the same scene, and it always blows my mind to think about.
Well, if you want to know a secret, they were the best. Pearl Harbor and the Explosion was the best band I ever seen at the Mabuhay, and I've seen every show for 10 years.
Oh my God! Well, thank you so much.
You want to know
performing-wise, energy-wise, they were. Pearl Harbor would jump in the air and click her heels together, and these guys moved around, and Hilary would be wearing this yellow jacket. Man, you could not miss these people.
Oh, I know. And he would just jump. There are pictures of it still of him and people tell me the stories of how he would jump off of these tall bass amps, in his Converse, and just always land on his feet, always hit the note on his bass, and that just people.
They did harmonies. I mean, they were so perfect, and I was lucky enough to get video of it. I got video of 3 songs. They're up on YouTube, and they are the best video I ever got.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you had that show, that you were doing that, and that you asked us to be on, and that we have that archival footage, because otherwise, it just wasn't commonplace. We wouldn't have any kind of video record.
That, and I'm the only one that has Michael Wilhelm when he was young, and Blue Cheer, and J.C. Burris, and I was just so lucky to do that. And now that's why I'm doing this radio show. I don't have a TV show, but I can talk to all these great acts that are around the world on the phone and get their story down before they're gone, because, they're not going to be here forever. I'm 69 years old.
Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are going to be here forever.
I mean, physically. I want to get some evidence for the next generations to come to see and to hear this amazing stories and people that were there and will always
and now you have this audio record of this conversation with Tortune, which people in the future are going to go, oh my gosh, that was the first opportunity to hear an interview with Tortune.
Well, we got a new generation. We got 2 generations going here.
That's right.
Well, I have to tell you a piece of trivia about Pearl Harbor and the explosions that happened here in Portland. So when I moved to Portland 10 years ago, we all kind of came up here at different times, and of course the first thing that my girlfriend and I moved here together. First thing we did was track down the big popular 80s dance night. So there's a Friday nights at the Fez. There is a big 80s dance night, and the night is called Shut Up and Dance. And
I love that song.
Oh my God! And did he name this night after Pearl Harbor and the explosions? Their song Shut Up and Dance. It turns out, yes, the DJ that hosts that night is named the night after Pearl Harbor and the explosions. And one night I went up to him and I just said, you named your night because of Pearl Harbor, didn't you? And his jaw dropped. He's like, how do you know that? I said, Hilary Stench is my dad, and he lives in Portland, and he just freaked out. He couldn't believe it. He was so starstruck. He's like, oh my God, he just loves the band so much. Could not believe that one of the Stench brothers lived in Portland. And so that, of course, was so fun for me to move here and see that the biggest 80s night in downtown Portland is actually named after my dad's band. So it's pretty exciting.
That's great. That's my favorite song. I wish I had gotten that on tape. I didn't get it, but I wish. My daughter was like about 3, and she used to love that song. I had the record, that Warner Brothers record you guys put out, and my daughter loved that song, Shut Up and Dance. She still loves it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That was a fun song, definitely.
Well, I love it. I certainly grew up with that record, and I still have that record. I listen to it on my record player on a regular basis. It's such good stuff.
And here's another funny thing related to Pearl Harbor and explosions and Tortune. We had Tortune won a contest where we got a free day of recording at this studio just outside of town called Big Red Studios. And so we went there. Billy Oski is the engineer there, and so we recorded 3 songs there one day. And I was in the control booth, and I'm looking at the mixing console, and it's this beautiful Trident mixing console. I said, it's weird. This board looks really familiar. And he goes, well, we got it. It was originally in I think it was Studio C at what used to be CBS Studios in San Francisco. And I said, oh my gosh, this is the very console that we recorded the Pearl Harbor and the Explosions album on.
Oh, cool.
So we actually got to record some Tortune songs on the same equipment that we recorded some Pearl Harbor, the Pearl Harbor and the Explosions album.
So amazing.
What goes around comes around, they say.
Oh yeah, it was terrific.
So how did you get a name like Tortune?
Well, the name itself was just really a happy accident. We had been trying to think of a name for the band for a few months, I think, by the time it happened. And, we were trying to not force it and knew that it would just sort of happen. And literally one day I was was doing this project. I had pulled out my old poetry books from high school. So, this really awful 15-year-old girl poetry that's just, as bad as it sounds, it's that bad, But the very important writing that led to the development, of my writing is much better now. So I was, I became a good lyricist through those sort of early years of just, writing whatever. And it was all written in pencil, so I just thought, I need to type the stuff out before it fades away, just so that it's there as a historical piece, for me and for my artistic life. And literally I mistyped the word torture, and it said tortune, and it just struck me, and I just saw it, and I knew it, and I said, why? I don't know why, but this is it. This is our band name. So I called Hilary immediately, and I said, because I was at work at the time, at the job I had, and I said, I need you to get online and Google the word tortune. Tell me if is this already a band? Is it something? Does it exist? Can we have this? This is our band name. He's like, okay. So he gets on, and we couldn't find it. There was nothing about any bands called that. And the one thing we found was, we just thought it was hilarious. If you look at the Urban Dictionary, the Urban Dictionary definition for tortune is, it's basically a torture tune, a song that you can't get out of your head even after hearing it only once. Or even a really crappy song that you can't, really catchy but shitty song, And so we thought about it for a minute. We're like, ooh, do we want to associate ourselves with that? And we just thought, you know what, our sense of humor is pretty dark. Yeah, I think that we can handle that. And we just thought it was really funny.
That was great.
That's it. That's the band.
I love to torture my audience.
That's right. That's
exactly.
right.
You're like, you know what? And some of these songs are really catchy. And I tell you what, we have a song that we finally got to record for Little Machine, and it's called Europa, Europa, and it's one of my older songs that I played in my first band in town. It's called The Plastic Age, and people will come up to me now and say, I heard you play that song live 6 years ago, and I still have it stuck in my head, and it's just one of those songs that just, the chorus is so catchy, and I sing such high notes that people, they can't help singing it. They come up to me and they go, they try and sing it, and it's great. So I thought, there's your tortune right there.
Yeah, right.
So
and
do you
by
write
the way,
the songs
that song
together?
is available on our new CD.
Do you write the songs together?
Well, we write. I write most of the songs at home on my Martin. I'll sit down at my Martin. A song will just come to me. I'm definitely the kind of songwriter that feels the muse sort of just pass through me. I don't torture myself over the tortunes. I really just I'll feel it. I'll feel that it's in my body. It's ready to come out, and I'll just sit down and I'll write it, and then the lyrics. I'll sit down with my book, and I'll write the words that go with the song, and it's all just very kind of organic. And then I'll bring that, and then usually my process is I will immediately make a home recording. Again, we both just love recording music, so it's usually a very important piece. If I don't record it as soon as I write it, often it won't make it to rehearsal.
We don't have any plans right now. It's the way the music world is constructed right now. We don't have anybody working with us. It's all very do-it-yourself. So the plan is definitely to build some more excitement about the CD and the band here in Portland, and then get on the road and start letting other people know about it.
Yeah.
So where can people find it? Do you have a website or something that you can give them?
Absolutely. So go to www.tortune.com, and it's TORTUNE. And we're in the process of fleshing out our website, but right now you go to it, you can see the beautiful cover of the album and a nice long bio about us, and then there's a link to CD Baby right on the website. And both the EP and Little Machine are available from CD Baby, but the easiest way is just click on it from the website. Tortune.com also has 4 songs up that are just free to listen to. We also have a Reverb Nation site. You can go to Reverb Nation and type in Tortune and listen to some songs. There's some great photos up on that site. And, of course, we have a Facebook page. That's Tortune, the band, actually. It's right, Tortune, the band.
Right. Well, actually, if you just search for Tortune in Facebook, you'll find it, and a lot of the sort of the day-to-day stuff, changes and shows coming up and things like that. That'll be on our Facebook page.
Is Lex Allyson, because my name is Alexandra Allyson Haynes, so we thought Lex Allyson was just the perfect name for me to go by. So yeah, we both have our private pages there too that you can also find through the Tortune page. But I just had to mention, we were talking about the songwriting process for Tortune, and starting to say that a lot of these songs, the majority of them, I'll write at home and take into a rehearsal. But man, the way that they change and they grow once Hilary becomes a part of it, it's incredible. Our collaboration process together is so, so, so special. I have never experienced anything like it. The way that his bass playing is so melodic, and everybody will remember that remembers him from San Francisco from those days, that the way we describe it is that instead of having a lead guitarist, we have Hilary's bass playing. It's that melodic. And that when we were mixing our album, we were comparing our instinctive levels of the bass, and we have them so up front. There's such a big, important part of these songs that our bass levels are more like Red Hot Chili Peppers level, just in terms of how upfront and important they are. And sometimes we absolutely write some of these songs together. A song like Jungle Fever that's on Little Machine, it's a lot of people's favorite song. It's very bass and flute oriented. I do a lot of flute improv. It's very moody, and that's a song that just happened at a rehearsal one day, and but that every single one of these songs would sound so different if if his voice wasn't in it, and the beats he makes on that drum machine they blow my mind. They just add this whole thing in. We call ourselves Ponder Pop. That's our genre, because for years nobody can tell us what genre we are, and we finally realized we just aren't. We blend genres like crazy, because as many influences as we have, we don't bring them into the actual songwriting as much as I think a lot of people do.
The picture looks like steampunk.
Yeah.
And that seems to be something that's going around now. Most people's thank you for calling. I love having Hilary and Lexus on again. And
hey, well, thank you so much for having us, Girl George.
Yeah, thank you.
So we'll be looking for your record, and when you come on tour, we'll come and see you. This is Girl George and the Dragons Radio Show saying thank you for coming, and see you later, alligator. After a while.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Girl George.
a sponge, soak it up, find out